So just before we get into how to build your profile, I want to talk about some fast facts about LinkedIn. So over the last couple of years, LinkedIn's been growing tremendously. As of right now, there's over 400 million registered members, and you can see that it's a global, members are all over the world. So the biggest percentage of members that are growing is college students and recent alumni with 40 million. So this is the biggest demographic. It also has around 3 million active job listings, and over 200 different industries are represented with 1.5 million interest groups. So this is a lot of people from all over the world. College grads and young alum are the growing demographic, and this can give you a great opportunity to connect with professionals in all different industries around the world. So I like to show these, that way you can kind of get a perspective of how many people are using LinkedIn and where they're using it from. So just a couple facts for any job seekers out there, upcoming alum or upcoming graduating seniors and some new young alumni who are conducting the job search. These are some social recruiting facts from the JobBite 2014 Social Recruiting Survey, and I like to show this just because it illustrates where the recruiters are. So 94% of recruiters are using social media in their recruitment efforts. And you can see that LinkedIn is the #1 social platform that they're engaging with prospective job seekers in. So this is definitely a place and a platform that you want to be in, followed by Facebook and Twitter. 78% of recruiters have made hires, direct hires, through social media and the people that they've connected through either LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and some of the other platforms listed below. So I always get a lot of questions, what social sites are best for me to participate or use when conducting my job search. So you can see, I like this graphic because it kind of shows you how different employers are using social media in their recruitment efforts. So for example, you'll see that LinkedIn's main resource for recruiters is looking for candidates. So they're searching, they're contacting, and they're keeping tabs on the potential candidates that they're vetting. Facebook and Twitter is typically more about showcasing the employer, their brand, generating employee referrals, and again, vetting candidates. This is a great resource for prospective job seekers to go to and review the company, learn a little bit more about what they're about, their culture, that fit, as well as LinkedIn. So before or during the interview process, these are great sites for you to go and review the companies that you're interviewing with, your prospective interviewees. Look them up on LinkedIn, check them out on Facebook, see what their brand is all about and what their background is, because you can use that as conversational tools in that interview to connect to those employers. So I like to show this graphic just because it helps you kind of see how recruiters are using these social platforms and what ones might be best for you to use when you're conducting your job search. So let's get started with LinkedIn. So if you don't have a profile, the easiest and quickest way to get one is to go to linkedin.com and you'll fill out this quick information and you'll be able to join. But I want to show you a quick little video about LinkedIn. It's a little overview on how you can use it before we get into that profile piece. So hopefully this will work.
If you're watching this, chances are good you want to get a job. You want to go from student to rising star, and you want to avoid eating the same meal over and over and over again. Good news, you're in the right place. That's right, LinkedIn. It's not just for top executives. It's not just for old people with heavy briefcases. It's for you, and it's the perfect place for you to start your professional story. Say you want to get a job in New York City. You've never been there before, but that's okay because you have LinkedIn on your side. You start by creating your profile. You give it love because you know it's what recruiters are looking for day and night. It's your resume that never sleeps. It's your flashing neon sign that says, hire me, for the love of all that is good in this world, hire me. Then you start making connections. Alumni working in New York? Yes. Recruiters at top companies in New York? Yes. Your mom's best friend? Yes. You start imagining whose shoes you want to walk in. You think, wow, this is a lot of deep stuff to consider. You shake yourself out of it and start searching for jobs. Whoa, that's a lot of jobs for students. Time to get down to business. You start to tailor your profile. You start applying. You feel empowered, in control, like you should be CEO. That gives you an idea. You look up all the CEOs of all the companies you want to work at. You see one of them went to your university. Then it hits you. You see a clear path from campus to career. You feel like you can see the future. You wonder if you're psychic. Should you start a hotline? No, back to plan A. You keep tailoring and connecting and applying, and before you know it, you start getting responses. First a few, then more, then an interview, and then you're hired. And that's when the real learning begins.
Perfect. Okay. So let's go back to the presentation. I like to show that video because it's a way for you to kind of see in a fun way how to use LinkedIn.
Hey guys, Lewis Howes here, and I'm in sunny California. My condo.
Hold on one second.
There are a number of different ways to grow your business online. And it can be very overwhelming with all the different tools and resources that are available for yourself. But there's one critical tool.
Sorry about that.
You cannot afford to overlook. And in this video.
Okay, sorry about that. A little technical difficulty there.
Little issues today.
Yeah, we're having some issues. But back to the video. I really like to show that because it's a quick little snippet about how LinkedIn can work and how you can utilize it. So when you first sign up with LinkedIn, you'll start to see that this graphic will illustrate that you're in the middle and that everybody you connect with, these are going to be the different levels of connection. So anybody that's on LinkedIn, you'll start to see you have a first-degree connection, a second-degree connection, or a third-degree connection. So that's illustrated by these circles. So you'll see that everyone that's a first-degree connection is in that first circle. So they're typically your connections or your friends. Everybody in that second circle is your friend's friend. So whoever your friends are connected to, you're connected through them, and they'll be your second degree. And then your third circle is your friend's friend's friend. So they're 3 people away from you. So that kind of will illustrate how you're connected to them and there's different ways to engage with each of their different types of connections, which we'll talk about as we go through. So the benefits of using LinkedIn. So you'll build an online professional presence. So we know that your online brand, your online presence is so important, especially in this digital marketplace, and it's how recruiters are recruiting. So having a presence online is a fantastic way, and when a recruiter goes to Google you, getting your LinkedIn profile to show up is the #1 way for them to get to know you before you actually go in for that interview. Also, you can engage in meaningful ways with alumni and other contacts. So we have a wonderful alumni organization, and your fellow alum are potentially there to help you answer questions, learn a little bit more about industries, and also potentially connect for different opportunities. Research. LinkedIn is a perfect research tool. It's so important that before you go in for an interview, and even sometimes before you're applying and putting together your resume and cover letter, you want to do some research on the company. What are their values? What's their brand? What are some of their either products? What are they working on? What are some of their new initiatives, goals? This is a great place for you to get all that information, learn a little bit about the company as you're going through the job search and application process. You can explore opportunities with different organizations that maybe don't recruit on campus or you're unfamiliar with, and you can learn how to also network your networking etiquette. As you start connecting and engaging more, you're going to get better at it, and it's going to be probably a little bit less awkward. I know sometimes when you first reach out, it's a little nerve-wracking to someone that you don't know, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So the big question.
I just was going to say, just so everybody knows who's an alumni, that we have a LinkedIn alumni page, and there's also a university page. You can go to both of those, and they're closed. One of them is a closed group, but it's a great place to network, like Alice was saying.
Yeah, there's a wonderful alumni group, so I definitely encourage any alum out there, if you're not connected to, connect to it, and also some seniors in May to definitely start reaching out and connecting. So I know a lot of the big questions are for anybody who's job seeking, or if you're thinking about maybe transitioning into a new field, is how do you stand out to recruiters? So if you take a look at from the recruiter's perspective, how are they going to choose between candidate A and candidate B? So I thought this graphic was a nice way to kind of signify when you're reviewing, how do I make that decision, or how is that recruiter going to make that decision? So for example, we have Grace and Christine here. They both have LinkedIn profiles, so recruiters are definitely going to try to look you up online and see what profiles you have, what your LinkedIn looks like, and if you're on any other social media platform. So when looking at these two examples side by side, you'll see that Grace has a lot of different experience listed, so does Christine. Grace's LinkedIn profile kind of just lists her experiences and what she's done, but Christine's really tailors her and tells that story. So LinkedIn has this great graphic that I wanted to share with you, because you can see when a recruiter's looking at it, you may have similar experiences, but the one that's going to stand out is going to tell a story and not just list what you've done. So let's talk about how to build that perfect profile and tell your story to recruiters. So the first step is a photo. On the checklist that we have in our office, which you can access through our WPUNJ Career Development website, and also it's online. I'm going to share the link for you at the end for you to check out. One of the first things LinkedIn recommends is having a professional photo. By adding this photo to your profile, it's going to make you 14 times more likely to be found in the search results. The search results pull based on how complete your profile is. So a photo is one of the major categories that will make sure that it's complete, so it'll start to pull better. When you're thinking about your LinkedIn photo, I always get a lot of questions, what should my photo look like? I don't want to look, just standing in front of a blank white wall in a black suit. I want to have a little personality. It's definitely okay to have some personality to your profile, but you want to make sure that your picture is just of you. My rule of thumb is it should always be from the shoulders up, and you should be the only one in it. I've seen photos with significant others, with pets, sometimes the bad crop where you have you're hugging somebody and you have the one arm and you try to crop it out. Try to stay away from that, because this is the face of your brand. So if you think of yourself as a brand, you want the face of your brand to be something that's eye-catching, that someone can connect with and be very engaging. So try to keep it as professional as possible, but again, you can definitely add some color. You can add a little bit of personality to it. I've seen some beautifully done photos where with the backdrop is being outside. Sometimes students have done a little orange to accent what they're wearing for the WP spirit and colors. So there's definitely different ways that you can make your photo more personal, but it's definitely important that you have one. It's professional looking. On campus, there's a couple different activities where you can come and get your LinkedIn photo shoots. I know different clubs and organizations will be hosting them this semester, and it's something that we've done in the past at our career fairs and different events. So if you need a professional looking photo, definitely reach out to our office and we could potentially connect you.
Can alumni also reach out to the office? Okay,
definitely. Students and alumni. The next part is creating that photo headline. So this is probably one of the toughest categories on your LinkedIn profile, because it has to be a short statement and you really want to make sure you customize it to who you are, what you're interested in. You want to get some of those great keywords in there, because recruiters are keyword searching on LinkedIn. So the more keywords you have that relate to your industry or to the type of career that you want to go into is important. You don't want LinkedIn, what it will do when you set up your profile is it'll automatically pull with whatever your most recent job is. That is a big no. We don't want it to just pull what your job title is, because this is an opportunity for you to really brand who you are, what your experience is, and your skill sets. So when you're setting up your profile, or even if you already have one set up, please make sure you go in and edit this to be more personal to you and what you have to offer, what you're interested in. So you definitely want to go beyond saying, you're a student at William Patterson University or an alumni of William Patterson University, or, you're a financial planner or a teacher. You really want it to incorporate some skills. So you can share your skills, study areas of study, your goals, and a few short phrases. So you can see a couple examples. These were student-based, but one is like WPUNJ class of 15, financial planning major, varsity field hockey, first place FPA challenge, seeking an internship in financial services. So that's definitely one way to do it. The example that I have that's highlighted in orange is of a professional who incorporated their area of interest, some of their characteristics such as passionate professional, dedicated to client success and satisfaction. So getting some of those keywords that relate to the industry that are in there. So I highly recommend you tailor this to you. Okay, so you want to claim your public URL. So you'll see that this is my LinkedIn profile. So if you want to connect with me, feel free to look me up on LinkedIn, and this is one way to connect with me. But when you're setting up your profile, definitely make sure that you claim your own URL. So that way you can take this link, embed it in your email address, you could put it on a business card, you could add it to your resume, and it has your name in there. So it's your branding again. So think of yourself as that product. You have to have a nice picture to brand the face of your product, and now you need to have an address so that they can find you. You can edit it at any time. For example, maybe you get married and your name changes, or you want to shorten it. Whatever it is, you can definitely edit it, and you'll just go, and there's a little arrow that says edit your URL when you're on your profile. So moving on, so once we get our headline done, our profile picture, and our URL, now it's starting to talk about your skills. So what LinkedIn did a couple of years ago was they added this top skills section. So on LinkedIn, when you go to your homepage, you'll see under more, skills and expertise. So this is already, if you've never created a LinkedIn profile before, this is already on your profile in one of the steps when you're creating your account. But if you already have one and maybe you have a couple skill sets in there but you can't remember how to edit or go back to it, this is a quick shortcut that will take you there. So LinkedIn lets you list up to 50 skills. I highly recommend not doing that. I would probably pick out maybe your 10 to 15 skills that you feel really connect to your major, to your industry that you're working in. Think about yourself, what differentiates you from maybe other people in your field. What are you really good at? Focus on these. So these could be anything from technical skills, such as Microsoft Office, any video production, blogging, Facebook, or it could be softer skills, such as customer service, determined, dedicated. So it could be a mix. You definitely want to focus on, your interests, your industry, and the types of positions that you're applying for, or the type of industry that you work in. So, yes.
I'm sorry, we have a question. For the link to your LinkedIn page, you said you can shorten it. Would you recommend ever shortening it using Bitly?
You could do that, but when you're putting it on, if you're putting it in if you're sharing it on social, I would definitely do a Bitly, because sometimes if you're on Twitter or something like that, you have character restrictions. But on your resume, I would definitely use the linkedin.com/ whatever your name is. So back to our skills. So a couple of things that are some fun facts. Most search skill, when I was doing some research for this, was in 2014 that people got hired based on this skill. Recruiters were looking for this, was statistical analysis and data mining. That was the top skill that recruiters were looking for in 2014. And the most overused keyword in 2014 was motivated. So think about that when you're using words to put together your profile, your headline, your skill sets. Motivated, creative, teamwork, those were some of the popular ones. So it's great that you're motivated, but think about maybe some other adjectives that mean the same thing that you can use, because you don't want to keep using the ones that are maybe overused, because you're not going to come up in search results. So think about how you can target and also incorporate the things you're really good at and the characteristics about yourself, but think about it in terms of your industry as well. Okay, so telling your story. So on LinkedIn, the first category in your profile will be your summary section. I highly recommend including a summary section. I see a lot of LinkedIn profiles that skip over this and go right into your work experience. This is your chance to tell your story. Who are you? What do you want? What are your interests? The biggest rule of thumb for this is being concise, specific, using great keywords, and making sure that there's no typos or grammatical errors. So there's a lot of debate, and I've seen this, over the last couple of years with LinkedIn. How do I write this summary? when you're putting together your resume, you know that using any personal pronouns such as I or my is definitely not recommended. So a lot of students, alumni, people that I've worked with have always asked the question, do I write this in first person? Do I write this in third person? Do I not use any personal pronouns and keep it like a blah, like the profile section on my resume? So there's really no right or wrong way to do this. I've been seeing a lot of articles coming out saying it's recommended or encouraged that you start to take this and tell your story. So incorporate it and use that first person, such as who are you? What are you interested in? What are your passions? What are your skill sets? What are the things that you could offer a potential company? What are you interested about the industry? So you'll see that there's two different examples, and I know they're tiny, so you might not be able to see them that well on your screens, but you'll see the first example is an example off of a resume. So this is a typical profile statement that you could have or qualification summary on your resume. So this is one way that you could definitely do it. It's short, it's concise, it's keyword rich. You're using definitely things that you might be working with on a day-to-day basis in your job. The second one is an example of someone who's in graduate school, an alum who's in graduate school, and they talked about their different research interests, what they're looking to explore, what type of area that they want to go into. So they told it from a story, personal story perspective. And I would probably recommend taking this approach. It doesn't necessarily have to be this long, but you have an opportunity to say, this is who I am, this is my background, and potentially these are the 3 or 4 skills that I have and I could potentially offer to you within the industry, the company, whatever it is you're looking for. Again, this is a tricky section to write about because you have to be personal and elaborate on skill sets and incorporate keywords. So if you're not one to like to write, again, this could be a little bit challenging, but we're here to help you in the Office of Career Development, so feel free to reach out, especially for current students. You can make a LinkedIn appointment, and for alumni, you could definitely outreach to us and send us an email, and we'd be happy to help you and give you some feedback on this section. So highlighting your experience. So this is a little bit easier. It'll ask you to go through, the second section typically is, work or internship experience. So you can go through and put in your most recent employment, leadership experiences can go in here as well. Internships would go in there. And then other optional categories are volunteer, organization, research, honors and awards, your education, courses, projects. So all of the sections on your LinkedIn are movable. So you could take your education and put that first. You could take your work experience and put that down at the bottom. My recommendation for the organization and flow of your profile is to really start with your summary. Then sometimes I'll see people do either work experience or professional experience, followed by their skill sets, then by their education, organizations, volunteer activities. The further you are out of school, the more you need to focus on your professional experience. So if you graduated and you're 5 or 6 years out, it's time to start removing some of that college information. You can leave it in there, but I probably wouldn't make it the main focus.
We just have a question.
Sure.
How far back into your work history should you include in your profile?
So just like on your resume, you don't have to list every job that you've ever had. You really want to tailor it towards the industry or the work experience that you are looking to have. I would probably say you can go back 5, 6 years depending on your experience. It's definitely, you can target it just like you would your resume, and I wouldn't list every job you ever had. Hope that answers your question.
But if you're like 50-something.
If you're 50-something, I probably would take the last 10 years of your professional experience.
Okay, thank you.
And again, you want to tweak and target it based on the industry that you've worked in and what direction you're looking to go into as well. And you can pick and choose. If you had a experience 10, 15, 20 years ago that is more relatable to what you're looking to do now, I would list that experience in there, followed by your most recent experiences within the last 10 years. Okay, so moving on to recommendations. This is something I encourage everyone to do, at least to have at least 3 recommendations on your profile. So it's really easy. When you go into your LinkedIn profile, right in that top section, right by your photo, there's a little arrow, and when you click on that arrow, there'll be a drop down, and it'll ask you to ask for a recommendation. When you click on ask for recommendation, this screen will pop up, and it says which connections do you want to have recommend you. You'll pick the position that you want to be recommended for, and you'll also type in who you want to ask from that has reviewed you or supervised you or worked with you from that position. So you can see once they write the recommendation for you, before it gets posted to your profile, you'll have the option to review it. If you like it, you'll hit the button share on my profile. So these are some different people that you could ask, such as employers, internship supervisors, professors, coaches, and mentors for our young alum and graduating seniors. If you've been working in the field for a little while, definitely you can ask your colleagues, anybody you've worked on specific projects with, your supervisor. If you didn't want to ask your supervisor at your current position, I would definitely ask your colleagues that you've worked with maybe on different projects or initiatives, because they are a great testament to how you work in teams and how you work to complete different projects. If you're involved in any professional associations or organizations, you could definitely people that you've worked with or collaborated with if you've been on different committees. And then also anybody who maybe has supervised you in some of your past positions would be great to have on there as well. This is a new feature that I think was added about 2 years ago, is showcasing your portfolio of work. So LinkedIn is becoming almost like a one-stop shop for not only your experience, but also now allowing you to upload different artifacts to show off your work. So this is huge, especially for people in graphic design, media, television, production, broadcasting, photography, any of the arts. This is a great place for you to showcase your experience and your work. This is also a place that you can upload, if you're a current student, maybe you have a graduation thesis or a research project, you can definitely upload any PDF, PowerPoint to this, I believe. You could also share a link if you have SlideShare. You can upload that as well. So these are the different types of media that you could add.
Just a question on the previous slide about asking for recommendations. This was if you're setting up your profile. But this person wants to know, is there a way to ask for recommendations if your profile is not new? How do you do that?
Yes, so it's so when you go to your profile and you click on Edit Profile, and at the end I can pull up mine and show you. When you're on that Edit Your Profile screen, in the top box that's right next to your picture, you'll see a little square with an arrow pointing down, and you'll just click on that, and there's a whole list of things that you can edit within that drop down. And I think it's the first or second one that says ask for a recommendation. So it's right in that top section with your picture and your information, such as your header.
Great, thanks.
So I highly recommend, in terms of showcasing any work that you've done, no matter what field you're in, presentations, photos, maybe you were in an article, put these things up on your profile to showcase some of your experiences. The more that you can show and illustrate, the better story you're going to tell to those recruiters.
I'm sorry, a lot of questions are coming in.
Good.
This person's a digital artist and a fine artist.
Oh,
if
great.
This person has a personal website. Where should this be listed? Like, should she put her things up on LinkedIn and also put her website somewhere?
Yeah, I think you could share a link for your personal website, and I would put that right in your summary. So in that summary section, you'll see this Add Media graphic that's at the top, and you could add a link to your personal website, and I believe what LinkedIn will do is it'll populate a graphic or two from your personal website, and they'll have that link there. So you might put in your summary, for more information on my background or my work, please feel free to visit my personal webpage, share the link, and that should be populated as part of your LinkedIn profile summary section. Okay, so that's some of the big topics and checkpoints for putting together your profile. Now we're going to talk about how to utilize some of the tools LinkedIn offers you. So one of the first and most important that I think is the LinkedIn group. So as we mentioned before, there's over 1.5 million different interest groups ranging from topics from specific industries to professional associations to college alumni groups. So if you're an alum and you have not connected to the William Patterson Alumni Group, I highly recommend doing so.
Can I give you the link? It's wpunj.edu/LinkedIn. And there's over 3,500 alumni on that. So,
fantastic way to engage and also get to know some of your fellow alumni. You can ask questions if you're maybe transitioning to a new job or industry. That's a great place to start potentially building contacts and asking questions and maybe seeing if someone would be interested in doing an informational interview.
I hope you don't mind.
No, not at all. More questions, the better.
Excuse, but there's so many questions coming in. On the previous slide, when you talked about putting up, art and stuff, is there a way to put a sound file in that yet? Do you know? Because this person's a musician.
I think there's a video file. So if you have a link, maybe you have it on YouTube or it could be in a video file format. I believe that's one way that you could do it. I'm not sure if it will do a like an MP3 just yet, but I think if it's connected to a video file, that would probably be the best way to go about getting it up there. So I love different groups. So I think I'm in probably about 30 different groups, maybe even more. I haven't checked recently, but it's a great way to connect with different industries. So the first place that I probably would go is my alumni association, and then from there I started joining professional associations that connected to my industry. So I work in higher ed and student affairs, so I connected to a lot of the associations that I belong to professionally. It's a great way to get to know your colleagues in the industry. There's regional organizations, there's national organizations, and then also joining different organizations related to your field. So maybe if you're an accountant or an artist, there's tons of interest groups that are some connected to professional associations and others are just interest groups that you can join. The purpose of this is definitely to share information, get your answers, your questions answered, and build new relationships. The whole point of social platforms such as LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter is to be social. So it's not just putting out your information, it's really about connecting and engaging, because those relationships that you're building off of LinkedIn is what's going to get you to that next spot. Or if you're looking for a job, that's going to help you find the recruiters, the contacts to learn more about those companies you're interested in. If you're not job searching, this is just a great place to connect with your colleagues and really start having conversations and meeting new people, because you never know where that relationship could go. LinkedIn Publisher. So this is a new feature that I think probably launched about a year or two ago, and it's becoming more and more popular. So if you like to write, or you feel like you have some expert knowledge on a topic that you want to share, this is a great place for you to blog. It's almost like a blog. So you can blog about it, share it with your connections, and also post it out outside of LinkedIn. You can share it on different platforms, on different social platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and also send it through emails with a link. So if I've seen students do this successfully, such as talking about their graduation experience, talking about their job search, talking about what they learned maybe through a specific topic that they're studying. Professionals, if you have an area of interest within your profession, you could talk about your interest area. So for example, the example that's in the back is talking about someone who works in marketing and social media. So they're talking about how to use LinkedIn to build your connection. So you can add images, and it's basically a blog that you can share on different platforms. But this is a great way. The purpose of it is to really show your knowledge and your expertise and really put yourself out there. And people will search through this, and they might find something that they connect with. Maybe it's a recruiter or another professional at a company, and they might connect to you, and you'll start a conversation based off what you wrote. So it's definitely important to it's a great way to get your information out there, get what you know out there, and share something that you're interested or passionate about. LinkedIn, for our young alum and our up-and-coming graduates, they have a series for their LinkedIn publisher for college students and university students, and they'll do a different topic. I remember last year, each month they had a different topic that you could write about and share your stories, and then they had a hashtag that they'd incorporate and share out some of the posts that were submitted. Okay, so this is probably my favorite tool that LinkedIn offers, and I use it when working with students every day. I also look at when I'm doing use it for some employer relations that we do in our office. But LinkedIn University and the alumni portal. So this is a great way to see where our alums are working and what they're doing, especially if you're job seeking and you want to talk with somebody in a new field or at a company. Do an informational interview. I highly recommend doing informational interviews if you're job seeking as a new alum, or even if you've been in the field for 25 years and you want to learn more about a company, about an area or an industry. It's a great way to build a connection, learn a little information, and take that connection and build that relationship up. So where you can find this is under Connect, and when you click on Find Alumni, there will be a drop-down menu on your homepage. When you click on Find Alumni, this is where it will take you to. It'll automatically default to your university that you graduated from, but you can always go in and change that to change by school. So it'll show it based on where they live, what they do, where they work, what their major was. If you hit the arrow to scroll over, it has different categories, and when you click on this, it'll show up. So if you click on, say, AT&T here, and sales, it'll show you everybody who's in at AT&T and sales, and you can outreach to them. And I can show you a live demonstration of this if anybody has questions. Okay, so company pages and the job search portal. So company pages, this is a great place if you're going on an interview or you're interested about working at a specific company or you're in your job search phase. Go to the company page, see who you're connected to, and also learn a little bit about the company. Different companies will put out videos. Some will even have their own careers tab for anybody who's interested in working at that company. They'll put out different career videos. They'll list some of their up-and-coming opportunities that will have links for you to apply. They'll give you some information about their brand, who they are, the culture, which will be definitely helpful for you as you prep for an interview and you prep to put together your application materials. And I love to see who I might know that works at that company. Even if they're a second-degree connection, I can find a way to outreach to them and learn a little bit more if I'm seriously thinking about working at that company. Okay, so company pages and the job search portal. So there's two ways that for the job search, there's a portal that's specifically for current students that are looking for internships and young alumni who are just entering the workforce. And that is the first link you see up there, which is linkedin.com/student-jobs. So if you click on that, it'll take you to the entry-level and internship portal. For everybody else who's maybe not in that entry-level area or looking for internships, you can go to the LinkedIn jobs portal. And when you just click on jobs at the top of your homepage, you'll see, click it and it'll take you to this, and you'll be able to enter in specific keywords, different job titles, just like any other search agent like Indeed or Career Builder or Monster. It lets you specify what you're looking for, and it'll pull up different search results. I love their search portal because it really lets you specify, and it'll start to learn the types of positions that you're searching for, the different industries you're searching in, and it'll recommend them for you. So it's smart in that way where it'll start to remember what you're searching. And it really gives you a nice ability to refine your search results. Okay, so once you've searched LinkedIn and you've done a little bit of research, maybe you found an alum or a colleague that you want to outreach to and you want to connect, and then you feel that you're ready to connect to them or outreach to them. The biggest recommendation I have for you is when you're inviting or building your profile and you're starting to connect with people and add up your connections is to customize your LinkedIn request to connect. So I receive a ton of different connection requests each day. I'm able to tell, if I know them personally, I'll just accept it. But if I don't know them, I've never met them, maybe I met them maybe in passing at a conference or an event, it's important to include a personal note, because if I look at my profile and I see all the different connection requests, I might see that someone works in a completely different field that I work in. I've never met with them. We don't really have many shared connections. I always ask myself, I wonder why they want to connect with me. Like, what is it about what I do or where I work, or, what is it that I do? Or potentially how could I help them? So I always recommend personalizing your message. So to personalize your message, there is a word count on this, but I always say give a little brief introduction, why you want to connect, if you're looking for them to help you out in a specific way, such as if you want to connect with them to do an informational interview or talk about the company, tell them that in the personal note, and always say thank you. So those are my 4 steps.
We have more questions coming in. I'd like to get them covered if we can.
Yeah, definitely.
The first one goes back to the previous slide, of course. This person wants to create a company page.
Okay.
Wants to know, how do you get followers? And also, how from that page would he follow groups from that company page and not from his personal profile? Like having 2.
It would be similar to how you, we created our career development page, and I know different offices have created their pages. It's similar in the fact that you would go through and fill out the same information, just with using your company's information. Getting followers, that's when you start sharing it out on different social media platforms. I think it would also start to pull some of the people that you're connected with personally, or it might show people that you know to kind of get them to follow you. I'm not sure on the specifics of how I can't remember because I haven't done it in a little while, how you start to gain followers, but the more you share it out outside of LinkedIn and also through your personal page, if it's somewhat related to what you do, that's another way to gain followers. But LinkedIn has some great resources on there. If you go to LinkedIn resources, they should have some information specifically about setting up company pages.
And you can leave it open or closed.
Right? Yeah, so there's group pages, so it depends what you're doing. If you want to set up your own group, that could be a closed group or an open group. For company pages,
I think a company would be an open.
I think it would be open.
Maybe keywords too, you could put it.
Yeah, there would be certain keywords, and that's how it would start pulling.
Okay. And then this person is in New Jersey, but close to New York.
Okay.
How can she refine her search results so she doesn't get jobs in New York? Is there a way to do that?
I believe you could put in a zip code. I know there's one I've seen it by zip code, and also if you pick out a town and then there's a mile radius, I believe that you can, so if you want 5 miles, I don't know if that would still be New York City for you. It could be, yeah, it could be, yeah. So I would really try to keep it within the zip code, or if you don't want to go to New York, I would put maybe a town or two a little bit west or north or south that isn't in New York City.
Oh, so like west of 5 miles from where you are, and then...
Right. Okay. So kind of take a town that's, if you're like maybe in Hoboken, but you don't want to go into New York City, that's like right across the river, maybe pick a town such as Wayne, or like a town a little bit west, and put that in as a search result. Okay. But I believe it'll let you do it by zip code.
Okay. And then this person has a very detailed question. What kind of recommendations do you have for connecting with people in your field? So, you kind of covered it. You might not know somebody, so put something in that personal. I'm thinking in the personal note. But do you think he wants to know, is it appropriate, like if you're looking for a teaching position, to connect with principals or superintendents in other districts? Like, is that appropriate? And what would you say? You're not. Could you just leave I'd like to add you to my professional network, or would you put a personal note?
I always try to recommend to connect, make that personal message, personal. Just don't leave it as, I'd like to connect or add you to my LinkedIn network. I definitely would recommend outreaching to principals, fellow teachers, different superintendents, and you could even say something like, I'd love to add you to my professional network as a emerging educator or educator. I'd love to connect with you, so we could, connect with you since we share the same field or within the same field.
So it's, because he's afraid it might be weird.
Yeah, no, as a fellow educator, if a fellow teacher, I would love to add you to my professional network, because then that at least makes sense. Okay, we're in the same industry, and that's why that person's connecting with me. You're not necessarily connecting with them because you want a job in their district. You just want to connect because you're in the same industry and potentially follow up and share ideas in the future.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So again, like it doesn't have to be a huge, long, detailed paragraph about why you want to connect with them. It could just be a simple, I'd love to add you to my professional network because we're in X industry, and I'd love to, connect with you in the future and, share ideas or whatnot. So there's some really great articles out there, and the Muse is one place. If you go to themuse.com, they have some really great articles out there about everything from resume to cover letter, job search, but they have one topic is LinkedIn, and there was an article that was shared a couple months ago about how to personalize your connection for every type of person, from a recruiter to alum to someone you don't know. And I have that article that I could share with the alumni office, and if anyone was interested, I could also share it with you via email. Okay, so LinkedIn for Students, this is a great resource for students, young alum, and even alum who've been out for a while. It will have a little technical difficulty, but we'll pull it up for you.
Love the computer.
So if you just Google LinkedIn for Students, and they also have a LinkedIn for Business, so that person that wanted to create a company page,
right,
that they would have similar resources for you there, I believe. So if you go to LinkedIn for Students, I wanted to show, this is a great resource page for you, and it has checklists, handouts, articles on how to build your profile, LinkedIn, how to find an internship job, tailor your communication effectively. So again, that's, outreaching to how to personalize your connection messages or your messages within groups. And then they have a checklist, and it shows you how to use the alumni tool as well. I wanted to show you just as an overview this last video about the top 5 to-dos for building a great LinkedIn profile.
Here's how to make your profile great. Number 1, pick a professional picture. Not just any picture. No, not that one. More like these. Yes, that's the one. Number 2, write a good headline. Just tell us who you are and what you want to do in 120 characters or less. Yeah, like that. Remember, nothing too personal, nothing too clever. Number 3, tell us about your education. What's your major? What classes did you take? What skills did you develop? C++? Art history? Portuguese history? Quantum thermodynamics? Yes, put those. Number 4, list your experience. Give us your organizations, your achievements, your honors. President of the International Club? Yes. Volunteer building houses? Yes. Invented the cat toy? Yeah, sure, that counts. Number 5, get recommendations. Prove you've got what it takes. Get managers, mentors, and professors to post something that says, this person is smart, hardworking, good-natured, and well-rounded, or something like that. And then you're done. You shout, this is me! You do a celebration dance. You feel good. You stand out. You know you're on your way, because there are jobs to be found and recruiters looking to find you as you watch this. That's right now, this very second. What are you waiting for? Go, find, be found.
All right, so that was just a little overview about some of the topics I talked about on how to build your profile. So I would like to open it up to questions that anyone might have. Again, there's some really great resources and articles that are out there that will take you through, how to build that, effective LinkedIn profile.
There's a LinkedIn for Business, you said also?
Yep, we can pull it up. So LinkedIn goes through how to build a presence for your business on LinkedIn, and it'll take you through like a step-by-step process. So how to create it, how to attract followers, and engage your audience. So this might be specifically what the person who asked the question on how to build their company page is looking for. And it has everything in here. So again, it's getting that link for your company page out there. Not just on LinkedIn, but also on the platforms that you currently do use. Sharing content, the content piece is huge for that. So it'll walk you right through it. So LinkedIn itself has some really great resources and tutorials for you that are out there from business and for personal.
Oh, okay. Can you see the names of everyone who views your profile?
So Yes and no. If you have the paid version of LinkedIn, you can, but if you
That's
have
the next question.
a
Do you have to pay for these services? Which,
no, there's two different categories of profiles. There's the free profile, which I have and most people I know have, and then there's the paid version, which gives you a little bit more content on who's viewing your profile. It'll allow you to message anybody on LinkedIn, so you'll see sometimes that in Messenger on your profile. If you have the paid version, you'd be able to email any or send an in-mail to anybody that is on LinkedIn. So right now, if you only have the free version, you're only able to connect within your degrees of your 3 degrees. So that's where it gets a little bit trickier. But I think there's still ways, even if you have a free version, there's still plenty of people that you can outreach to. And if you can't get to somebody, one of your connections probably can do an introduction for you.
and I think there's a variety of different paid, like
Mm-hmm.
different
There's
levels,
different
right?
levels,
Yeah,
which
just
will
don't want
give
to know how
you.
much it is, but I think if you look, you'll see there's like
Yeah,
3
if you
different
go
levels.
if you go to LinkedIn.com, they'll have the different profile pay, like how much it costs for the different profiles. And then for recruiters, they have a special.
Is that LinkedIn Premium?
Yeah, I think LinkedIn Premium, where that's a whole different type
Someone
of
just
profile.
asked about that. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn Premium?
I know a lot of recruiters use it, and that's one of their go-to search engine tools to find
I know the person that asked this. This
Okay.
person actually helps people find jobs.
Okay, yeah.
um,
So I know from the recruiters that we work with in the office, and some of the other recruiters that I know personally, this is like their go-to site at right now.
LinkedIn Premium.
LinkedIn Premium that they're using, and they're in there all day keyword searching, and they're able to pull up lists of qualified candidates based on keywords. It's more advanced than what we can do when we go into LinkedIn.
But like as a person looking for a job, you don't need LinkedIn Premium.
No, you don't
You
need
just
LinkedIn.
need to put your keywords
You
in
need
so
to
they
use
can
your
find you.
keywords. So they have LinkedIn Premium where that they can go in and do a lot of fancy stuff to find talented candidates. But as a job seeker, you just need to, I think a free account is great, and the more you fill out your profile, the more you use keywords, the more you're connecting with people, having those conversations, that's what's going to land you that job or land you those right connections. Just having a LinkedIn profile isn't enough. So you could just put up your information, but if you're not using it or doing anything with it, what's the use of having it? Maybe you'll find people will come across you, but it's really important. It's a living, breathing, tool. So you want to live and breathe with it. So the more you do, different jobs you get, the more information you want to keep using it, updating, sharing information. They have a status that you can share if you have an article. There's different ways to engage. So you want to use it as an engagement tool, not just posting your information.
And this person asked about what are the keywords, but that's really individual.
That's industry, yeah, so industry based. So if you're, depending on what field you're in, so if you're in, like for us, like in higher ed, like I work in student affairs and career development, so I'm using keywords that are relatable to, I'm working with students, I know I'm using, certain maybe assessments, I'm using certain tools. So if you're in accounting, you definitely want to talk about, QuickBooks or any of the software that you're using. Think about some of the keywords that connect to your industry. And you can find some of them if you're looking at jobs. Look at the job posting, and you'll start to see we're looking for candidates who have, and they're giving you the keywords that they're looking for.
Well, we're almost done, so I'm going to ask this last question, and I think we talked about this previously. Will you be able to help people if they're going to create their LinkedIn profile and they send you their link, maybe to help them edit it or look at it or create it?
Yeah, definitely. I believe my contact information is on my last slide, so I can pull that up for you. So you can outreach to the office, and I will actually put up my email address. It wasn't on there. So my email address is just my last name, so it's barrowsm@wpunj.edu. So if you want to shoot me an email, I'd be happy. And if you have a LinkedIn profile, you could put the link to your profile in it, so that way I can easily take a look at it, and I'd be able to help you and answer any questions that you have. You can also follow us on our social media to kind of stay up to date with what's happening for different events.
And just so everybody else knows too, we will send out a PDF of the presentation to everybody so you can see the links to follow and things like that. this afternoon probably. And we also have been recording this, so it'll be on our YouTube channel. So if you missed anything, feel free to go there. Because we're almost at 1:30, I just want to let everybody know that if you have any other questions, you'll get a survey after this. You can write any other questions there, and we'll ask Mary Alice if she'll happily
I'd be happy to
those
answer any
for you.
questions.
And other than that, thank you all for attending. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you at our next webinar. And feel free to contact us if you have any other questions. Okay? Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you, Mary Alice.
Thank you for joining us.